Welcome. As you will hear, all the expressions in this podcast are only from its moderator, and they have nothing to do with sponsors, potential sponsors, or potential people who he could be affiliated. These are only his responses, and officially welcome to the Macedon Podcast. Thank you, and welcome back to another edition of the Macedon Podcast. This is our fourth episode, and we're really proud to be here. So, we are getting right on the way. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to be covering today, but we're going to try to make a quick one, because it's a busy weekend. As you can see, we got Avengers out, and we also got still going with Game of Thrones on the final season, and there's some hardcore shit that is going down tonight on GOT. So, we're covering a lot of stuff. Don't worry, we will not be saying any spoilers on Avengers Endgame. We don't play like that. We want to be responsible, and we want people to enjoy the experience of going to the movies. And also to, this is 10 years, something that has become personal, has become somewhat of a family activity. So, I think, we should let people enjoy themselves. So, with further ado, we are going to be talking about a couple of sensitive topics today. We're going to be moving a little bit on the social side, and it's doing a little bit of an analysis on what is going on in Puerto Rico right now. There's surprising news, even though everything, that you may be hearing is like President Trump usually like insulting Puerto Rico politicians, and for the most part, that's a few small things that he kind of gets right. And it's not that I'm a Trump supporter or nothing like that, like never ever, but when he says that there's inefficiency in Puerto Rico politicians, it is something that it is true, and it is something that I think we should be completely honest about it. That because it has been almost like 60 years now, and look where we are. But we have had like surprising, perhaps really good news. And it is that I would say we are in 2019. Let's start from 2010. From as long as 9 years ago, there were Puerto Ricans like going by the thousands yearly, and right just before Hurricane Maria and a little bit after, we were seeing numbers by the 100,000s that were leaving the island to look for better living conditions, for better paying conditions. And surprisingly, in 2019, we're seeing a tendency that most people are coming back. But there's a lot of factors that are in play here, that need to be discussed, because it's really something good. It's not that we are like throwing mud at it, but the thing is that we need to be really careful with the information and the way that we were spreading it. Because it also needs to be a point of reflection on how the United States is shifting into the future as a whole. And when you have people that have gone to what to most of them is actually somewhat of a promised land, and they find out that the promised land looks exactly as maybe as they have imagined, even better, but they don't get to enjoy it. And they're coming back to an island that we're still having the same problems, but there's many fair reasons on why so many people are coming back. And there's a wide array of reasons. What is going on with Puerto Ricans is something somehow really sad. And the thing is that there's a lot of factors. The fact that we have right now the President Trump, and how people have been really outspoken about their views on race and the whole racism, the whole way racism itself is being handled. And the thing is that I have seen videos, and there have been viral videos of people like telling Puerto Ricans that get the F out. We don't want you here, wetbags. But that one, that one was one of the most hurting ones. But in recent years, it had dropped. It's like people started like immediately mocking us with reggaeton. That's what they do. This is what I'm talking about is this typical guy that has the MAGA hat and everything, and not everyone that has a MAGA hat, because I have spoken with Republicans who are really not on Trump's side on many things, and the thing is that it is felt by many Puerto Ricans. It is felt, and the thing is that since many Puerto Ricans have been moving to the States, it has made it a little bit uncomfortable to some of them, of the ones that were already there. And it is funny because I have seen this in so many sketches of African American comedians that I have to point it out, that they say that, excuse me over here a second, remember that we do this as crude as we can. So, well, the thing is that many African Americans, they say that when they are treated with a certain degree of racism, a lot of ignorance about ethnicity, and the thing is that with Puerto Ricans, as we gather more and more, let's say for example the case of Kissimmee, Florida. In the case of Kissimmee, there have been so many Puerto Ricans that we have absolutely, like, Kissimmee is actually a municipality of Puerto Rico by this point, but the thing is that we have everything. We have from the good Puerto Ricans to the not so good Puerto Ricans, bad Puerto Ricans. We have everything over there, and there have been some things that people have been like complaining about. Let's say, for example, that ATV vehicles being driven on the streets recklessly and things like that. And there's so much more to Puerto Ricans and what they have done in the development of the whole central area of Florida, because it's not only Orlando, it's like the central part, the central north part of Florida. And the thing is that the things that go usually viral is, I don't know, that sparks these kinds of controversy. There was this other video about a man, but the man looked like he was pretty drunk, and he was like berating to some Puerto Ricans, and they were like, tried to ignore him, but it came to a point that they couldn't resist themselves, and they beat the living crap out of this guy. So it became a debate. Many times that this video comes, and it becomes a debate, on the bad Puerto Ricans, and even Puerto Ricans criticizing the Puerto Ricans that are over there doing perhaps the stuff that they were used to do here. And I say that that's like a process of translation, And the thing is that actually in many states, one of the main factors that made Puerto Ricans come back is not so much the racism. I have known many Puerto Ricans that have come across a lot of racism. A lot of friends of mine that have been in restaurants, and when they show their ID, their Puerto Rico ID, they don't want to serve no alcohol beverage. Sometimes they don't even want to attend them, and that's something that happens. But I don't want to point it out as if it is the main reason why it's happening. The Puerto Ricans coming back to the island. One of the main things that I have discovered as I've been talking to a lot of people is the fact that when they go to the United States, they go with this mentality that they're going to be working the normal 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, shifts that they got here, that they got perhaps maybe 2 hours of commute, the hour of lunch, maybe let's just say like 11 hours on job. They're two typical day offs and everything. And the thing is that when many Puerto Ricans get to many of the states, and this is something that we have spoken a lot in the Spanish podcast, is the fact of inflation. You're going to find a lot of jobs that are 13, 14 bucks an hour, 15, 16. You're going to find fast food works that are $11 and $12 an hour, but you're going to see that you're going to find rents that and I'm not talking like main cities, because let's rule main cities out for a moment, because main cities like, for example, New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, for example, those are a complete different story. We're talking about $2,000, and maybe you get a bed that has a toilet just right next to it, just in the place that's there's supposed to be like a night table or something. And the thing is that you're gonna get like some sort of a box or something for $2,000 in New York. But the thing is that in many suburbs in the United States, and I'm talking in places such as Texas, Colorado, Ohio, many states like Pennsylvania, for example, New Jersey. It's a really another great example that we have lots and lots of Puerto Ricans. And the thing is that the cost of life itself is really, really high. And this is one of the main facts, because Puerto Ricans, they can withstand anything. Puerto Ricans, and the fact of the whole racism, that's why I wanted to rule it out at first, because there have been cases in which it has happened, but it's not the main reason why Puerto Ricans are returning here. Because Puerto Ricans, we can ignore people. It's like, well, it's a bad day. It feels bad. It sucks. We want to, we may want to kick that person's ass. But as time goes by, it's not that we adapt to it. We never have to do that. But the thing is that it becomes like the tipping point. And it is important to mention racism, because it is like how we say here, we have a saying that it is like the last drop that made the cup spill over. It is racism. And the economical reasons, the economical barriers that are set in the United States due to inflation of cost makes this another reality, because when they get to the United States to get a 3-bedroom house, let's say, for example, for an entire family, mom, pops, boy, girl, for example, 4 people, and let's say, for example, a couple, they could have a one room, but we're talking about that one room apartments are starting about $700 to $800 in an average medium, and it is really hard because you have utilities that you have to pay, you have groceries that you have to pay, and when you put all of those things together, gas money, food money, you will be spending a lot of time outside, so you will be eating a lot outside. And the thing is that the cost of life is one of the things that are becoming too overwhelming to a lot of Puerto Ricans. Why? Because so the fact is that if they're going to support it, and there's an important point. I'm talking about that almost every place in the United States right now, it is almost starting at $800, and I'm not talking about this kind of typical small town that has like 120 people. No. I'm talking about main cities that they have jobs. That these are the ones that many Puerto Ricans, and I will say that any population that I don't like to say minority, because through the years we have become somewhat of another majority, and I would like to see it like that, but. We operate with a system, so minorities, they look for places that they are developing. There are sites dedicated to this. There's, for example, when Forbes, the best cities to move on, there's jobs going on, and you see that as soon as this happens, cost of life starts spiking up, and one of the main places that it starts spiking up is in real estate, and in real estate. We have to be honest. Any place of living, this is without gas money, without utilities, you have to pay around $1,000. If you go to an apartment complex, you have to pay an association fee that sometimes it includes the utilities, sometimes it doesn't. not includes the utilities. You have to buy groceries, you have to buy gas. And the other thing is that most of the times you have to pay for health insurance. And you have smartphones, you have... the thing is that people with